What is up, everybody? Welcome to SportsShack. My name is Brandon Natali, along with Denis Tui and Michael Marandino. It's a lot of big things going on in the sports world, especially in New York, in the New York sports world. The New York Knicks potentially one game away from winning the NBA Finals for the first time since 1973. A very huge deal and a big deal. Obviously, yes, I'm a Knicks fan as well, but Mike has been a Knicks fan since May 26,
2008.
2000.
2008.
Brett, that too. But as far as I've known Mike, I've known him and his family have been diehards for forever. So this is very big for them as well. I know Dennis was very excited for obviously New Yorkers excited for the New York Knicks as well.
Hmm.
I'm excited too because again, like I said, this would be the first of my teams, the Jets, Mets, the Islanders, the Knicks, to win a championship. Because I've seen a lot of losing. I've seen a butt fumble. I've seen a Game 5 collapse in 15. I've seen a collapse last year with the Mets. I've seen the Islanders one game short. The Jets long playoff drought. So this is nice. This would be pretty big for me too. But again, I feel like everybody with the Knicks again, and I know I've gone off a lot about the the crowd, the angry mob that has ruined it for the New York Knicks fans, and has just been questioning whether the National Guard is going to come in. Um, but obviously, I've loved how this is bringing a lot of unity to the good people, where you see people out celebrating at the bars, everyone's going nuts, celebrating. Obviously, when OG made his famous tip-in shot off of Jalen Brunson's missed three and the putback, so shout out to OG. And then, of course, I love seeing obviously people high-fiving each other, just having fun, just bringing joy to New York. And obviously, again, New York can be expensive. Absolutely, and then obviously what's going on in the political state of the world. Like this is something that's bringing everybody together. And again, those Knicks fans that are causing havoc, those might not even be real Knicks fans. But again, that's a whole different story. And obviously, everybody knows how I feels on that. But again, like I said, this is definitely something that's bringing unity to the New York area, and I love seeing it. But this Saturday, obviously, the Knicks have a chance to make history, and it's going to be a very interesting, great time in New York. Hopefully in a safe and responsible way. I'll let Mike take the floor.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of gonna do what I did for the last show. Got to show off my shirt. I got the NBA Finals shirt right here with the coach Mike Brown on the team, everyone on the Knicks roster. I've been wearing this shirt ever since probably for like the past week or so.
Okay.
I'm wearing this shirt. I also have a Knicks flag that I just hung up over my left shoulder, over your guys' right shoulder from your point of view. It's right there. It says New York Knicks, Eastern Conference Finals Champions 2026, with NBA Finals below it. I actually hung up that flag right before or hours before Game 4 tipped off. So maybe that was a good luck charm. Maybe it wasn't. But I digress. Let's just talk about Game 4. I mean, down 29 points at halftime. I thought it was over because we came back from down 22 against Cleveland. We did it 2025 playoffs, round 2 against Boston. And I just thought 29 against this Spurs team, I don't see it happening. It's never been done before. So I'm just led to think that this game is over. And then the second half, the Knicks caught fire. They started hitting their shots. They started making their threes. The ball was moving,
Mm-hmm.
and the Spurs went ice cold. Spurs only scored 14 points in the third quarter, only 16 points in the fourth quarter. Wemby, I believe, missed 9 of his last 10 field goals. He also missed 2 free throws late. That was huge. Thank you, Wemby, for missing those free throws. Much appreciated. Thank you, De'Aaron Fox, for taking that layup when you shouldn't have done that. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. But I mean, what a game. I mean, what a second half. I mean, just absolutely unbelievable. Jalen Brunson hitting that pull-up 3 over a 7'5" Wemby, 8-foot wingspan. I mean, that shot was crazy. I mean, that shot was absolutely crazy. I remember watching it live, thinking, how the heck did he just make that over Wemby? but he's had a lot of those threes over Wemby. Jalen Brunson has shown us time and time again that it doesn't matter who's guarding him. He will pull it from three. Doesn't matter who it is, even if it's Wemby. Doesn't bother him. He doesn't see him. All he sees is that rim. And he almost hit that last shot. Hit the front of the rim. It was a great look. And then OG came from the three-point line with the right hand of God to tip it in perfectly. And when I saw that tip, I sounded like a little girl. My voice was probably the most high-pitched. In those last 2 minutes, my voice was probably the most high-pitched it's been since I was a kid. 100%. 100%. I mean, just the joy and just the enthusiasm and just the shock was just unbelievable. And Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby are the first Knick duo in NBA history to both score 30-plus points in an NBA Finals game. And believe it or not, even with OG dropping 33 points on 10 for 15 shooting, 7 and 9 from three, that's 78% if you round that up. Absolutely efficient, insane stats. He was still a -1. He was not a positive. He wasn't a 0. He wasn't a plus. He was a -1, which is very hard to believe. But that doesn't even matter. Because without OG Anunoby, we don't come back in this game. We don't win this game. I mean, just absolutely unreal. 3-1 lead, 48 minutes away, 1 win away from our first NBA championship, like Brandon said, since 1973. And this is the closest New York has been to a ring since 1994. Because in 1999, they lost 4-1 to this same franchise, San Antonio Spurs. But in 1994, they were up 3-2 against the Rockets. And I don't even need to get into that whole collapse because it was bad. It was very bad. And Josh Hart's layup that he missed gave Patrick Ewing flashbacks to the Eastern Conference Finals against Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
I was like, please, man. I'm like, please, somehow, Lord, God, just give us a chance to win. And he answered my prayers. And absolutely unreal. And I can't believe this is real life right now. I'm smiling through it all because I can't believe this is real life. And just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, Dennis, what do you got to say?
I mean, I have to be honest with you. Can't lie to the audience. Can't do it. I worked a long shift that day. A lot of it was outside. It was a hot day in New York.
It's been getting hot out here for sure.
I fell asleep like 2 minutes into the third quarter. My mind was telling me stay up. My body literally just couldn't do it. So you're welcome for the game, and because that's why I was but right away, a minute and 20 seconds into the game, right before we talk about the collapse, a minute and 20 seconds into the game. Something very important happens, and that is Victor Wembanyama gets called for a foul on Karl-Anthony Towns, which I think would have been a shooting foul, and the Spurs challenge it, and it gets overturned. Richard Jefferson on the broadcast thought it shouldn't have been. I thought it shouldn't have been. I thought Richard Jefferson's argument made a lot of sense. Yes, Karl-Anthony Towns hooked him maybe a little bit, but Wembanyama then went way further than he should have. And I agreed with that sentiment. And I think the Knicks fans and the Knicks players and me watching it at home and my dad watching it at home who I was with and my little golden doodle puppy all thought the same thing. Here we go again. Right after the ref show that was game 3. Game 3. Here we go again. You have got to be effing kidding me. And then afterwards was just a slew of stupidity by the Knicks in the first quarter. They're frustrated. They're pissed off. They're dumb, cheap fouls. Jose Alvarado probably should have been called for a flagrant on Wembanyama. I think there would have been a riot if he was. And between because we haven't spoken about game 3, between the flagrant that should have been called on Victor Wembanyama, which it was a flagrant. I mean, what are we? People are saying, well, he touched his jersey. He touched his jersey first, so yes, his head should be spiked into the ground. Great. Love this sense of justice we have in the 21st century. And but not only that, you had the blatant letter by letter, character by character, delay a game, textbook with the picture, delay a game, should have been called, which gave them the Spurs more time to challenge a call that was then overturned. Blatant. To me, if people want to like, get out on the refs or whatnot, that to me is like the example of, yeah, they were trying to extend the series, in my opinion. And then the missed 6 players on the court thing, which weirdly, I have actually been in games where this has happened, obviously at a much lower level. I kind of give them slightly a bit of grace. It is easy to kind of just assume everything is right. It's one of those things like if you are looking for it, you will find it. But if you're not looking for it, it's very easy to miss. So I'll give them a little bit of grace, but you got to be better with that. Immediately, I think every Knicks fan thought the same thing. Like, you have got to be effing kidding me. And then I kind of saw the Alvarado flagrant that should have been called, not getting called to flagrant, not getting upgraded, as almost like a sign of good faith. Like, all right, we can move past this now. But the Knicks in the first half were just still shattered, still frustrated, still pissed off. And it showed. They were down quite a bit, 76-49 going into the half. And then after that, the game was really all Knicks. They outscored the Spurs 26-14 in the third quarter. They outscored the Spurs 32-4 in the fourth quarter. And if I'm remembering this right, because I'm trying to find the exact quarter by quarter score for the players, did Wembanyama only have one made field goal in the second half?
I think so.
And because he did the whole to Mitchell Robinson, I'm in your head thing, and then he made one shot after that, if I'm not mistaken. The rest of the game, he missed all but one shot. At that point on the broadcast, I could have sworn it said he was 7 for 11 or 8 for 11. He wound up finishing 9 for 25 from the field. He sucked. He played 44 minutes, same as Jalen Brunson. People have gotten on Jalen Brunson about his shooting efficiencies. Brunson, 12 for 25 from the field, 36 points. Victor Wembanyama going into the half with something like 21 points, wasn't it? Wound up shooting for 9 for 25 from the field for the game with a +1 plus-minus in 44 minutes. And again, the thing I've been speaking about the entire playoffs, and other people have too, is how absolutely exhausted this guy looks late in games, which has led to them coughing up these leads when he's either not on the court or when teams are taking advantage of that. Another stat that I feel like people are downplaying when talking about, the Spurs, this is an all-time choke job or whatever. One thing, against the Oklahoma City Thunder, all 7 games in that series, the Spurs at one point had a 15-point lead in each and every single one of them, including the 3 they lost. The Knicks are not the Thunder. When I think it was it Game 5 or Game 6 against the Thunder are getting absolutely pounded, and then their team kind of just folds in the second half. They just concede. They stop playing their players. And I remember commenting online, like, you can't have that in the playoffs. Like, the Knicks would never do that. People were saying, oh, that's, you got to think about tomorrow and stuff like that. And, to quote Apollo Creed, there is no tomorrow. This is the playoffs. Wow. Look what happened. Almost the exact same scenario happened. And the Knicks clawed their way back.
Yeah.
I don't want to, count my chickens because I'm rooting for the Knicks, obviously, New York, yada, yada, yada. You know that. If the Knicks manage to win, I've started watching basketball 2016. If the Knicks manage to win, this is the best team I've ever seen. And this is probably the best team I've ever seen in any sport.
Really?
Because the fact that before that, I would say the 2019 Nationals, that team, I don't know what juju they found.
That was the team.
After that Kurt Suzuki grand slam against the Mets earlier in the year, they just could not lose. And this team, you cannot keep them down. You had said, Mike, and other people had said, everybody's better than Jalen Brunson until it's time to be better than Jalen Brunson. Like the guys at closer, Jose Alvarado, who we had spoken about, they got for next to nothing. 2 second-round picks, ho-hum. Most of those don't pan out at all. And some guy who got waived the next day winds up being the catalyst for this comeback. Only 8 points, but 2 of those were threes that were absolutely soul-shattering. The Knicks are actually back in this, 3-pointers. And while he didn't have steals, which he's known for, Grand Theft Alvarado and whatnot, the defense was still there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on here. And, people are blaming De'Aaron Fox. I think the lineups could be better. I mean, right now, the best coach of this series for the Knicks, yes, Mike Brown's doing a great job, but Mitch Johnson's also doing a phenomenal job of just not playing Dylan Harper. Go ahead. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, if your opponent makes a mistake, don't interrupt them. Go right ahead. And I don't get it. You guys don't get it. The world doesn't get it, but it is what it is. It's just like the Knicks are just so good at staying around. It's almost like the Knicks fans themselves just patiently waiting for their time in the finals for 27 years to get back here, for even longer to have a chance to actually win it. Just the patience they have in these games. After that halftime, their frustrations were let out in the first half, and they just became patient again, and they just started doing the little things right. And they weren't a team like the Thunder that's used to being up by a lot. The Knicks, they're used to winning a lot of their games throughout the regular season and in the playoffs, coming from behind and then pulling ahead. So this was a team that, the team that constantly comes back versus the team that constantly coughs up leads and makes things nerve-wracking in the end. I mean, I'm almost like, shame on me. I should have seen this coming. That this team is just, both teams are built different in 2 different ways. A lot of it's the inexperience in the Spurs, but you're looking around like the Knicks. Yes, they've played a lot of playoff games, but let's be honest, a lot of their guys were viewed as like playoff losers. Like, yes, OG Anunoby has a ring from 2019. He didn't play a second in the playoffs that year. Karl Anthony Towns has been getting clowned on for years about how bad he is in the playoffs and in the regular season. A traffic cone on defense, whatnot, all this stuff. And outside of Jalen Brunson, like, you don't really have that guy. And there was that one series against the Cavaliers a couple of years ago in 23 when Mitchell Robinson looked like Wilt Chamberlain. But aside from that, it's all guys that are like, yeah, they play playoff games, but like you didn't expect something like this. I really think like people I thought were overreacting to Wembanyama being so emotional after winning the Western Conference Finals. I really think the narrative in the 21st century of if you win the Western Conference, you win the NBA championship really got into their head, and they just never took the Knicks as seriously as they should have. Like at any point. I think that's kind of what it is.
If that's the case, then the Spurs should have packed their bag. They never should have packed their bags to begin with. They should have stayed in San Antonio, or they never should have even showed up for the finals. So that's the case. Because if anybody has watched this whole playoffs so far and have seen the Knicks on the winning streak that they've had over this the course of this playoffs, the way they're just so disciplined, so well coached, and they have the heart and they have the fight and just the dominance that they've just been playing. If that's how San Antonio was going in this, then they never even should have showed up. That's what I was saying about the Knicks. I'm like, the Knicks I'm saying not that they never should have showed up, but again, the Knicks are just this dominant team. Like, for the fact that Spurs, if they did, that's what people were saying about the Spurs, that the Spurs shouldn't be shown as a team not to take serious, which I never really did. But I just looked at this Knicks team and I'm like, had this team, like, and I'm not saying that they won it yet, but how could this team not win it? And because again, like, Biden wasn't worried in terms of the Spurs where the Knicks shouldn't show up. Like, obviously, I knew the Knicks would have this fight and keep the dominance into the finals, and they won, obviously winning the first 2 games. Third game, obviously, of course, the ref game, but obviously, last Wednesday showed otherwise why they are going to potentially win the championship. And again, like you said, if the Spurs never should have were thinking like that, then man, I don't know what kind of basketball they were watching.
Continue, Mike.
No, go ahead.
at this point in time, like, I just don't know how it keeps happening. Like, yes, credit to the Knicks for never giving up at any point in time. And guys, like, the other thing that I think people have forgotten about is like the Nova Knicks thing of like a couple of years ago. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if these guys that all went to college together won a championship. Well, it's come back around that like these guys have played in like, the games I was talking about were like I don't think any of their team has played more than 80 playoff games in the NBA, but these guys have played in championship games in college, and like they're used to being in these high pressure situations and win or go home situations together. And Bridges, Brunson, and Hart, and so like they can just lean on each other. They know what to do, and the Spurs are still like weirdly trying to figure it out. I gotta be honest, they should have figured it out in the Western Conference Finals. You went up against the reigning champion. I don't understand. Like, again, I'm curious how it happens. Like, De'Aaron Fox, 37 minutes of playing time again, higher than Harper. Yes, he had 18 points, but on 6 for 16 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, compared to Harper, who had 21 points in 32 minutes on 8 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words here. The highest plus minus on the Spurs, Dylan Harper at plus 12. I don't get it. And Stephon Castle has been playing great defense all series long, got into foul trouble, which really allowed the Knicks to do damage in the second half. He had a minus 11 plus minus. So if they, if this Spurs team now facing elimination, I'm really curious how it's going to be Saturday night.
Yeah, Game 5 is definitely a big test. Of course, it should be something. It's again, they're in San Antonio. I feel like a lot of people have the Knicks already locked up, but again, that's not always the case. The Knicks have all the momentum on their side, 100%. But again, San Antonio, they're still a formidable team. I don't think anybody should take them lightly, but it depends. I don't know. Game 4 was a big loss for them, especially a lot of people are bringing all the heat on De'Aaron Fox for, obviously making shooting the layup instead of just draining the clock. I guess he wasn't just thinking much in that aspect. And of course, OG Anunoby, who's going to potentially be the Finals MVP, playing both clutch on defense and on offense. But again, the Spurs, they're still a young team. I know Mike has said it plenty of times. Like they're going to probably win it next year. I still think they're a good all around team. They're all young, and they're like the Knicks have been through the heartbreak. They've had the experience, like the veteran leadership. Like I feel like they had more of the edge than the Spurs. And the Spurs are a talented team, but again, Knicks, this was their destiny. They were ready for this. With Spurs next year, they'll have more of the opportunity.
No, I will. There's definitely at least a few things that I want to add to everything you guys just said. And the first thing I'll address is what Buddy just said. OG Anunoby making a very, very strong case to win Finals MVP. It'll probably go to JB. It'll probably go to Brunson. But, I mean, just look at these stats. And this is since Game 4. It's been updated stats. OG Anunoby in these NBA Finals right now, averaging just under 24 points a game, 4 rebounds a game, just under 4 made threes a game, 1.5 blocks a game, a steal a game. And just look at this efficiency, guys. I mean, this is like some Kevin Durant type efficiency. He's shooting 58% from the field, almost 56% from 3, and almost 92% from the free throw line. I mean, those stats are unbelievable. And I think his, yes, Jalen Brunson is averaging more points, but it is on worse efficiency, which of course is understandable because he is who he is. But I mean, just like OG, he's making it it's more impactful. I think his points are a lot more impactful than Brunson's. And you could question that in the clutch, which is fair to question. And I completely agree with that. But I just think he's making a very, very strong case for Finals MVP. And it's going to be tough for the NBA and the league to kind of figure out who they want to make the Finals MVP if the Knicks wind up winning the championship. I also want to add in this as well. When the Knicks won the NBA Cup against the same San Antonio Spurs team, Mike Brown, he went with a 2-guard lineup to win that game. And who was the other guard? It was Tyler Kolek. It was the Tyler Kolek, Jordan Clarkson legacy game. And what he do in game 4 wasn't Kolek this time. This time it was Jose Alvarado. So big shout out to Mike Brown for making those adjustments at half, recognizing that, hey, when we won the NBA Cup, I went with the 2-guard lineup so that way Brunson can have an additional second ball handler to relieve the stress of JB bringing the ball up. And I think that was huge. I think that definitely conserved Brunson's energy. I think it gave him the energy he needed to hit that shot to make it a 1-point game over Wemby. So if Mike Brown doesn't make that adjustment, he doesn't go with that 2-guard lineup, who knows if what happened actually happens. So, I mean, huge shout out to Mike Brown. And just he's looking like a phenomenal coach right now, especially compared to Tibbs last season. And one more thing, shout out to Jeremy Sohan and Ariel Hukporti. They gave us huge minutes in that first half, maybe third quarter. They only played for 5 minutes, but it was impactful. And they helped us too. So shout out to Mike Brown for going deep in his bench, going to whoever he wanted to because he didn't have a choice. They're almost getting 30 balled, down 29. So he's like, you know what? They're doing the hack and Mitch. Let me bring in Hukporti. Let me bring in our third string center. Let me bring in Jeremy Sohan, former Spur, to potentially help us out here. So huge shout out to Mike Brown.
This is just a very well-built team, and it absolutely takes time. Of course, I feel like it started from Julius Randle. All these years, and I feel like people keep forgetting about RJ Barrett and that he was a Knick. But he was part of that centerpiece in that trade for OG Anunoby. And again, just the chemistry and everything I guess everything else just needed was the coaching, and obviously everybody came under fire when. I mean, people knew it was coming. It was expected that Tibbs was going to get fired, but obviously people were shocked because the fact that they made it to the conference championship for the first time in over like 20 years at that time, at that point. So everything's just falling into place, and it's just destiny. So hopefully the Knicks can capitalize and take advantage of everything. Dennis?
No, I don't really have too much to add from you guys. Like I just think like those little things around the margins, like using Jeremy Sohan for 3 minutes in the first half and using Ariel Hukporti and Jordan Clarkson for 5 minutes and Miles McBride for only 7 minutes. Like those things wound up mattering so much. So much. Jose Alvarado had 5 personal fouls in 16 minutes. I'm sure some of that was garbage time trying to extend the clock, whatever. But like so many of their guys were in foul trouble early on in the game that they just literally had to buy minutes. And then in the second half, that wound up meaning that those guys wound up being more well-rested. So again, comparing it to the Spurs, I mean, not the Spurs, the Thunder. I have to find the exact game that I'm thinking of to help myself out here. To compare it to the Thunder, which again, like kind of like folded. If you guys remember the game I'm talking about, which you're better man than me if you did, because I can't remember for the life of me. But I could have sworn it's 5 or 6. But with that team, like they wound up saying, like, well, we have a deep enough bench that we'll just play this one out. We'll look towards tomorrow. Like that is not what the Knicks were doing. Like the Knicks really every intent on winning this game and setting themselves up to be in a position to take it back. I don't know if it's because there's probably actually equal parts that Mike Brown knew that this is the kind of team, the Spurs team, that would give it up, and that this is the kind of Knicks team that would take it. And it's just we'll see what happens moving forward. But this was really interesting, and I thought that was interesting when you brought up, Mike, about the 2-guard lineup. I never even considered that. And the game I was thinking about was Game 4, the 103-82, just bloodbath. That a lot of their guys like barely played that game.
I also want to add one more thing. There was a very crucial unsung hero from Game 4 of this NBA Finals. Karl Anthony Towns defending the inbound. Deflects the inbound pass. If he doesn't deflect that inbound pass, Stephon Castle probably catches it for an alley-oop dunk. And because Cat deflected that pass. What happened happened. So huge shout out to Kat. You potentially saved the Knicks season as well, in addition to Brunson and Anunoby.
Yeah,
And
I love Karl Anthony Towns. I feel like his story is pretty unique. It's not unique. It's I think unfortunately like tragic in a way. I feel like he lost a lot of. If I'm correct, he lost a lot of family members during COVID, right?
his mother.
Yeah,
He
that's
lost,
it's
he
awful.
lost a bunch of people.
Yeah, again, not it's very tragic and awful what happened to him during COVID. It's not unique. It's very tragic and awful. I just think what's unique is how he's come back and has persevered through all the tragedy and to just become obviously the player and the person that he is I think just speaks testament to his character, and that's amazing. Again, not unique what happened to him. Very tragic story. Obviously, of course,
He lost
what
eight
is unique
relatives.
is his comeback and his perseverance.
No, I mean, this playoff run, he's been incredible. I mean, especially efficiency wise and defensively. In this playoffs, he's shooting 47% from three. He's averaging 1.2 steals and 1.3 blocks. Compare that to the regular season, he only averaged 0.9 steals, which still isn't terrible for a center, and 0.5 blocks. So, I mean, right there, you could just see the impact and the way he has risen his game in this playoff run.
Yeah. And the thing with him too is he's just got to kind of keep cool with like the stupid fouls early.
Yeah, 2 fouls in the first minute. That was scary. That was not a good start for the Knicks right away. And again, I feel like we got to talk more about the game itself. I feel like we keep talking about the players and obviously the coaching, but the game itself, arguably, you can make the argument it was the best Knick game ever so far. Just a phenomenal, like, again, down early. It was scary. I was looking at the Spurs and I'm like, they just keep hitting their shots, and it was annoying. But then I remember I wish I got to maybe screen like record the group chats that I was in with some of the friends, some of us, because like everybody was doubting them, and nobody really said much after because everybody was quiet. They wanted to watch after, but because you could tell. I remember when the Jets played the Giants 3 years ago. Everyone was you know shitting on me with the Jets because the Giants were about to beat the Jets, right? You would think. So you see all the comments and all the text of
I remember this
all the
game.
trash against the Jets, and then I think it was Graham Gano. He missed the field goal, and I remember everyone was like, "Uh-oh," and then next thing you know, it's Gare Wilson first down, offsides on Kayvon, then the pass to Alan Lazar. Next thing you know, they tie the game, and now I'm going nuts. Now it's the opposite. Everyone's flipping, but that's when I bring that game up because that's what it was like with this Knicks game. Everybody's saying, "All right, Knicks and San Antonio Spurs in 6." Someone said that. And then obviously
Me.
everybody was. I think it was you, but
Well,
you were. What I'm saying, you were like you valid because you thought they were done. And everybody was. Thought the game was over. I kind of thought it was did too. But then as the game was carrying on. It was in the third quarter. It was in the fourth. I'm like, and they're coming back. I'm like, all right, maybe it's not over yet. I said it in the chat. I'm like, this game's not over yet. So now obviously they kept hitting their shots. They're playing good defense. The Spurs now is the opposite. The Knicks couldn't hit a shot. Now the Spurs weren't hitting their shots. So now obviously last couple of minutes, now they're down by 4. Fast forward, they're down by 4. Again, Jose Alvarado was clutch. But then obviously Jalen Brunson hitting a shot over Wemby, which is insane. Imagine hitting a shot over someone that's like 7'4". That's hard to do.
over
I
a foot
can't
taller than him.
literally a whole foot taller. So, and obviously the final minute of that game was just insane. Darren Fox with his miscue, which not saying it's like a Bill Buckner type scenario, but again, at that he just didn't play that well. I guess a lot coming on, a lot of the pressure, a lot of the heat. It's hard to kind of think at that moment. And Jose Alvarado almost got called for backcourt, but I think it was Richard Jefferson and Tim Ledley, and obviously Mike Green. They said like his 2 feet and the ball have to be at backcourt. So he was lucky, Alvarado. He got lucky. And then obviously the whole 5 seconds. I wish I recorded it, but just watching it with my parents, and I watched it with Sadie Grace, and obviously I remember it was Cooch, our friend Anthony, that was saying it like why the ball go to Brunson, and I said it. I'm like, because that's who you go. That's who you go to when
Guy.
that's your guy. It's like that's why they went to Ewing back in the day. That's why they go to LeBron. That's why they go to Michael Jordan. They
Kobe.
go to those because those are your clutch players. That's what they're known for. Those not just that they're clutch. That's their guy. If it doesn't go to them, who else are going to go to? And then whole bunch of stuff. So, I don't blame Brunson for that shot. I would have took that shot at that moment, But then obviously credit to OG, you could see from 3-point, as Mike said, at the hands of God, and tipped it back in, and everyone's going nuts. I'm going nuts in my den, and it was just great. And obviously, I knew there was kind of 1 second left, so I'm like, all right. But luckily, they played great defense at the end, 1.2 seconds, and then obviously that was it. It would have been so heartbreaking if the Spurs would have gotten that opportunity at the last second. Oh, that would have drained the energy. But just a great ending, and you could see the Knicks crowd, and nobody wanted to leave. Like nobody wanted to leave, and everyone's just celebrating and having fun. But absolutely, just that whole game was just insane, and everybody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm. I will say going forward into Game 5, the Knicks have to be ready for the Spurs to give them everything they got, because now the Spurs have to climb a very steep hill and win 3 consecutive games, and they got to win on their home floor, which they have not proven to do in this NBA Finals yet. So the Knicks have to be prepared, especially for Dylan Harper. He continues to shine. He has played at least 82 games. He is not a rookie anymore. I think I heard Richard Jefferson say that, saying, once you're past that 82-game threshold, you're no longer considered a rookie. And Richard Jefferson said that he thought that Dylan Harper is not a rookie anymore. And I agree. I mean, his driving layup is probably the best I've seen since Ja Morant. I mean, when that dude's going to the hoop, Cat can't even stop him or block him. So, I mean, you got to lock Dylan Harper up, prepare for him to potentially steal De'Aaron Fox's minutes. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could. And a very popular YouTuber I always watch, Overside, who I know Brandon knows.
Overside,
he said, I watched his video last night. He's like, I think the Spurs should trade De'Aaron Fox or just get rid of him in the offseason because you got Dylan Harper. I mean, like Dennis alluded to earlier, Dylan Harper is balling right now. Like him and Wemby, that's your future point guard and your future big man for the future. Like it's like I don't think it's Fox. I just don't. Like he's not what he was in Sacramento. This De'Aaron Fox is not Sacramento Kings De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, let's stay on the topic of the Spurs perspective for a second here because we've spent so much time talking about the Knicks. What do you guys think if the Spurs it's going to take for the Spurs to win this game and the rest of the series? Let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Like, what's the path to victory in this Game 5?
I think they got to do what they did in Game 4. They got to come out firing on all cylinders, and they can't get too ahead of themselves like they did in Game 4. They got to be like, listen, we can't have a repeat of that. Of course, I would love for that to happen because I want my Knicks to win the chip. But from the Spurs' perspective, that's how they should be thinking. Don't let your foot off the gas. Play very good defense. Try and lock them up as best you can. Don't let Brunson and OG start to get going. Because if they do, it's over. Because then Josh Hart will start getting going from three-point range. Josh Hart is arguably one of the reasons why we're even here right now. He doesn't develop that three-point shot and shoot around 40% from three this entire season. We may not even be having this discussion right now. We may not even be at this point right now. So because the Knicks can go 5 out and do what they've done throughout the regular season, throughout this playoff run, the Spurs have to keep that in mind. And they also have to think, okay, we have to emulate that because they could also go 5 out, especially with Wemby. So that would be my take on how they win. Don't let your foot off the gas. You have no choice now. Your season's on the line every single game. The Knicks have the momentum. They're up 3-1. And you just got to handle your business.
I'm looking at actually before I get to when I want the tickets at San Antonio. Honestly, what Mike said again, they started off red hot, the Spurs, and that's how they got going. That's how everybody was freaking out that the game was over already. They were making the shots. They were playing good defense. They were getting essentially into the Knicks' head. You see Wemby, he's trolling them. He was trying to become the next Reggie Miller and the next Halliburton, next Trae Young. He was trying to fit into that role, and I think he did it too early. And again, they just got too cocky. Like again, game's not over yet.
He asked for it.
Yes, yeah. Again, that's just what happens. De'Aaron Fox was, trolling Brunson. Who knows? They had a rivalry dating back since they were teens. They played against each other in high school. They've had a long history together. So again, and Just gotta make your shots. Gotta just keep fighting, play contested. In the Spurs side, obviously, I don't want that to happen. I'm just giving my if the Spurs want to contend against the Knicks, that's what they got to do. They got to again start off fast. Don't get it too ahead of yourselves and play. But again, if the Knicks want to keep winning it, they just keep playing the way they've been doing.
Yeah, from my perspective, I kind of feel like they need it. If you're the Spurs, you want a tight game going to the second half. Wembanyama to have not been a factor in the game so far. I know that sounds bizarre, but it's because in the second half, like if he comes in fresh and can pull the Spurs ahead instead of trying to get a lead, this might sound weird, but instead of getting a lead early and protecting that lead throughout the game, I think the Spurs' best chance is to steal one late. Mm-hmm. I really do, because I don't think you look at the way this whole playoffs have been. Every single chance the Knicks have gotten to end a series, they have absolutely blown out their opponent each and every time.
These ticket prices
all
are
double-digit
insane.
Wins. And I want to get to that in a second. And it's just, I really think like that's their path to victory. Like it's going to take everybody who's not Wembanyama stepping up and him being able to carry them in the second half. And it's going to take not dumb fouls from really either team. Both teams have got to be almost perfect for this to happen. Because the Spurs are going to be coming out guns a-blazing. And the Knicks are going to be trying to win. And it's just going to be one of those games. But you said about the ticket prices. I saw this earlier on FS1. And I didn't even think about this, that Nick Wright had said he had looked at prices because he considered going to San Antonio for the game. And he's like, what I noticed was there are MSG prices because these are all MSG fans. Mm-hmm. They're all going to see their team win. So that's why the tickets are so astronomically priced compared to how they were when they first came in. And he said he's expecting it to look like Game 4 against the Cavaliers, where it's a good amount of Knicks fans. But I don't think he's wrong.
No, he's wrong. I'm sorry to interrupt, and then you could finish.
Go ahead, I'm done.
But but at least 50%. I saw it. I think it's like somewhere between 50, 55%. I think it's 52 or 53 off the top of my head. 53, 52% of tickets that have been purchased for Game 5 are from New York residents. At least half. I know that
I didn't see.
I saw that this morning on Instagram before we did our podcast. Mm-hmm. I believe it.
I mean, you got to pay for the airfare. You got to pay for that. So I mean,
listen, all those jokes people were making about it's cheaper to go to Texas and watch the game there than to go to MSG.
Maybe a little bit, but not.
Yeah. Not much, but at the start of the series, that was certainly the case. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a few people who thought, well, why not? If the game doesn't happen, you get refunded anyway, right?
I think so. My dad said that might not be the case, but
really? I can't see them.
I would hope you get refunded.
Nah, I have to.
I would hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you buy the ticket, but then say you buy a ticket for Game 5, but then there's a sweep. I'm sure you probably get most of that money back, if not all of it. But then you probably say you paid more than what the standard value was. They probably take like maybe $300, if I'm correct. I don't know. I gotta look it up. But either way, I mean, hey, I'm not paying the prices, so I'm watching it at home. Game 5, I'm gonna be in the city. I'm gonna be in Martin Garrix, so that'd be cool if he could. I'm gonna watch the game no matter what. I'm gonna have it either on my phone. Maybe they have it at the bars that are in the arena. Or maybe they're going to have it on the Jumbotron. That'd be sick. But I saw Martin Garrix. I think it'd be cool if he did what Chris Lake did for any of the EDM fans out there. He played the last minute of Game 2 for the New York crowd because he played in New York, Chris Lake. So again, Martin Garrix, I'm sure people are saying to him hey, this is a big time right now in New York, and we're here for it. We should do something. I would hope so. I think he did a little something. I don't know. He was he actually was chanting. He's like Knicks in 5, and then the crowd was going nuts. But I don't know. We'll see. Again, I don't know. Obviously, I'm enjoying the concert, and then obviously, it'd be cool. I think that's just a cool combination. As I said to you guys, watching the Knicks win a championship, and then seeing Martin Garrix in front of me, it's a cool combination.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And I did look up the answer to our ticket question. You do get a full refund. So you'll just have to cancel your flight or just make a little weekend trip.
Mhm.
Why
That's
not?
it.
Go see the Riverwalk and eat some churros. Charles Park.
I like churros. But
I
what
know
do you
Chuck.
guys?
I know Chuck can't wait to get back to San Antonio.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's
But,
like, keep the series as long. Good, take it 7 games so I can go back to San Antonio.
But what do you guys expect for Game 5? What are your expectations so far?
With this series, I can't guess anything. Like at this point, I don't know what's gonna happen. Listen, Brandon, you know this. Mike, you've probably heard me say this. I always root for television. Whatever, even my Yankees, the one team I really go psycho about, like I root for television. I would almost rather my team win by 1 point than lose, than win by like 20. Just because I want to see a good game, something that's entertaining. So just be entertaining. Like Brandon, you and I, we went to Rico's and Merrick for Game 3, and the Knicks lost, but it was a really good, entertaining game. It was. So as long as I'm entertained from 8:30 when it's tip off to however long it takes, I will be awake watching it. I don't know where yet, probably home. As long as I'm entertained.
That was a good time at Rico's. I had a lot of fun. That
Yeah, it
was
was a good
good.
time.
We had a good crowd with us, and then we had a good view of the TV mic. I don't know if you saw where we were.
I
Our
did.
friend Nicole was able to get us a table right in front of the TV, which I thought was pretty cool. Like that was a cool thing.
Yeah, I felt so bad with that because I was closest to the TV, and I have a bad habit of like when I'm kind of getting into something, like leaning in. And at one point, Jason's like, "Hey, you can just like move back a bit." And I realized I was like, "Oh yeah, I was blocking the effing TV for like 20 minutes."
You gotta see.
I forget I'm a giant, and like I'm just like boxing people out. Like waiting for the ball.
You gotta see. But no,
But
it
no,
was it sucked that they lost. It was a fun game. It was entertaining, like you said, but it sucked that they lost. So everybody in the bar was disappointed.
But no, I just want to answer Brandon's question. What are my expectations for Game 5? I mean, every game this series has been close and down to the wire, so I'm gonna expect that. The only other thing I can expect is the Knicks just go absolutely bonkers, firing on all cylinders like the Spurs were in Game 4, and then the Spurs give up. They say, I plead the fifth. Literally, because it's Game 5. Those two things are my expectations.
I'll see. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think this team's going to quit at home. Maybe they would quit on the road, the Spurs team, but you can't listen. We all know David Robinson's going to be there. Tim Duncan's going to be, Manu's going to be there. Parker's going to be there. And of course, Greg Popovich, who we all know he's had health issues the last couple of years and whatnot. He's going to be there. You do not want to let arguably the greatest coach in the history of American sports, Greg Popovich, down. And again, I'm not trying to be dark here. And what could be one of the last times his team really has a chance. He's still in their front office and whatnot. Mitch Johnson took over for him, and his body just would not let him travel anymore. I don't think this team would quit in front of Greg Popovich. But I think like if this team was down like 20 going to the half, like I think Greg's going down there with the boys and just like firing them up, like honestly. Because you heard that's what happened against the Thunder. That like he gave them like some huge impassioned speech which like propelled them throughout the series. Yeah. So we'll see.
I didn't even think, I mean, no offense, Greg Popovich, to you or your health, but I didn't even think he had the capabilities to even still do something like that.
Me neither, to be honest. But everybody was talking about how he fired the team up, and
wow, good for Pop.
Good for Pop is right.
That's crazy. Good for Pop, yeah. But yeah, we shall see. I'm excited for it. Hopefully, we'll see how Game 5 goes. But I think that kind of wraps it up. I feel like that's all we need to talk about today was about the Knicks.
Mhm.
Then obviously next week we'll see what happens. We'll dive into we'll see what happens. And then we'll go from there. But for now, I guess kind of wraps up Sports Shack today.
Here,
Thank
wait.
you.
Can I add two things before you wrap up? This is just
course.
other additional NBA news other than the NBA Finals that I found out kind of right before we got started. So supposedly, the Heat are front runners to land Giannis. That is something I saw today, and also, and I believe this because they have so much cap space. Apparently, the Brooklyn Nets are going to make a huge offer to Austin Reeves, who I believe is an unrestricted free agent. Maybe he's restricted.
That could be
But
interesting.
Austin Reeves might be going to the Barclays Center.
That's pretty interesting. I know he's been a hot top,
Wow.
like a hot name that's been talked about with the Lakers. What would he bring to the Nets?
Good.
And
Good shooter, reliable, a finals caliber player, and famously in the offseason, Bill Simmons of The Ringer said the Spurs should give a blank check to Austin Reeves, and if the Lakers match it, so be it. But this would be the perfect guy to put around Wemby. That's what he said.
Replace him with Fox.
Dude, could you imagine?
He could be a point guard. He's
Why
done
not?
it.
Yeah.
He's done it before. And I will
Wow,
say,
that'd be interesting. And that'd be a good fit for the Nets too. They have a good front court. I like that Claxton.
MPJ,
Like, they have good
MPJ gets
players.
an additional
Yeah.
score beside him. I mean, I think
Isn't he off the team, MPJ? Isn't he a free agent?
He might be. I'm excited for free agency too. I mean, once this
Me too.
NBA Finals is all said and done, free agency is going to be very interesting this offseason.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
you
That
guys
20, it's crazy that Tony Parker wasn't on that 99 team.
No, he was not. I think his first year with them was 02.
It's 0102. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like right after we were born. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, Michael Porter Jr. is not a free agent. He's a free agent after next year. Before we go, you guys excited for the World Cup at all, or not really? Trying to get into it.
No, I mean, I guess I'll follow here and there. I actually was watching. I think it was South Korea versus Austria.
Czechia.
Czechia, and I did see one of the goals. I think that Korea scored the tie, and I was like, "Damn, this is pretty sick."
Yeah. I'm trying to force myself to be a soccer fan. I just
No disrespect to the FIBA World Cup. I'm sure it's entertaining and amazing. But everyone where I live in Orlando, because I think there was just a game here in Orlando, Camping World Stadium. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, blah 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 blah," and I sent like a Homelander from the boys meme in our group chat, and I specifically tagged Chris Muse because I know he'd find this funny. And
Yeah.
Homelander saying, "Why would I give two F's about that?" Especially coming from me as a Knicks fan. I was like, "Oh, the FIBA. Oh, the FIBA World Cup. Oh, my hoopla." I'm like, bro, I do not care right now about the FIBA. Who cares? Nobody cares. Not if you're a Knicks fan at least, or an NBA fan. Like, no, ain't nobody thinking about that. I mean, maybe Josh Hart is and some of the Knicks, which is fair, and they'll probably go once this is all said and done because I've heard them say that, but not me. Not me right now.
I see something to carry on the adrenaline rush of these Knicks games for the few days in between.
All I know is that those ticket prices are insane too, especially for the final. I'm pretty sure the final is at MetLife. Which the ticket prices for that are, of course, astronomically absurd.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm gonna be started on that.
FIFA is like the most corrupt organization. Like they love money so much. Like there's a big storyline of the expanded World Cup this year. There's like they added 3 groups just for money.
That's insane.
Absolutely wild, dude.
Whatever you got to do, I guess. I mean,
that's insane.
Yeah, the minimum prices for some of these, not even like the late World Cup games, are like $1,300. The final is $8,000 minimum. Meanwhile, I went to the Cricket World Cup for a ham sandwich. It was like $20 when it was at Eisenhower Park.
Yeah. But I guess that wraps it up. Thank you everybody for joining Sports Shack today. I know, shout out to Jason Rendell. I hope you were listening. Also, thank you to everybody else. And Michael, thank you again for joining us as well. Obviously, like I said, you're always more than welcome. Dennis, of course. And absolutely, thank you guys again. My name is Brian Natali, along with Dennis Turi, Michael Marandino. Hopefully, when we come back, hopefully the Knicks are champions. Hopefully, but tune in next week if they are, you can find out our reaction, and so we dive more into that and in the sports world. Thank you guys, and have a blessed weekend.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.